Hi, happy Chanukah. I want to start with a joke. There are 4 men who are waiting in a hospital delivery room for the wives to give birth. Obviously, a number of years back, before men were allowed to go into the delivery room, doctor comes out, tells the first one, "Congratulations, Mazel Tov, your wife just had twins." And he says, "Well, what a coincidence. I work for the Minnesota Twins." Second doctor comes out, second guy, "Your wife just had triplets." And he said, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I work for 3M Corporation." Then the third doctor comes out, goes over to the third guy, and he says, "You won't believe it. Your wife just had quadruplets." And he says, "Wow, what a coincidence. I work for the Four Seasons Hotels." And all of a sudden, the fourth guy faints. They finally revive him. They get him to wake up, and they say, "What happened? Why'd you faint?" He said, "Well, I work for 7-Up." So the point is, there are patterns. There are patterns in this world, and there are patterns in time. And as Jews, we believe very strongly in the idea of patterns and the idea of time. The Hebrew word for year is shana. The word shana has 2 meanings. It means to repeat and also to change. And this basically sums up the Jewish view of time. Time is like a spiral. Every year, we reach the same points in time, and the same powers and the same points in time repeat every single year. But it's our job not just to allow that year to repeat and pass us by, but to make changes in ourselves as the year goes along. The Greeks also had a concept of time. They believed in something called the Great Year, that time basically, the universe is born and perishes at the beginning of the year. It's born, it perishes at the end of the year, and time is not connected to anything. There's no such thing as patterns and as things repeating. The idea of changing and growing is totally foreign to them. The Romans used to play around with the calendar all the time. They would just add, one year they just added 85 days to the calendar. Another year they just decided that a Friday, October 15th would follow Thursday, October 4th. In fact, it wasn't until 1752 that the American colonies even had a real calendar. That's why there's some ambiguity about George Washington's birthday, because some say he was born on February 11th, some say February 22nd, because he was born in 1732, before we even had a calendar. Isaac Newton explains in his book Principia Mathematica, absolute true and mathematical time of itself and from its own nature flows equably without relation to anything external. So clearly there's no belief that there's a pattern and that there's any significance to time. But time in Judaism is paramount and very extremely important. Basically, if you think about it, the first mitzvah in the Torah, in fact, is Rosh Chodesh, which is the mitzvah of calculating the Jewish calendar. The entire calendar is based on the idea that we want certain Yomim Tovim to fall out in certain seasons. Pesach must be in the spring. It's not random, like Ramadan can fall out any month of the year. Things have to happen at certain times. In fact, the Hebrew term for holiday is moed. Moed means appointed time, because everything has to happen at a set time at an appointed time. There are times in the year, there are points in the year that have certain powers and are set aside for certain types of things to happen. The word zman itself means zman, mizuman, prepared. So it's not a coincidence, for example, that Pesach happens in the month of Nisan. The month of Nisan is the only month that has the power and the ability for an event like Pesach to happen. And we have to figure out what is the power of each Chag, what is the power of that time of year, and how can we tap into that power. So what exactly is the power of Chanukah? The power of Chanukah, if you think about it for a minute, is the idea of L'matla min hateva, of going beyond and above nature. Nature is represented by the number 7. There are 7 days of the week. 7 is normal, it's nature. 8, which is Chanukah, is L'mala min hateva, going beyond nature. And that's what Chanukah represents. The idea of being extraordinary. The idea of going beyond ourselves. In fact, if you think about it for a second, the word nisayon, which means a trial, is actually made up of 2 words, nes and yavan, miracle and Greek. If you take the Greeks out of the picture, Hashem gave us at that time a nes, a tremendous miracle. And that's the power of this time of year. Hashem gives us nisim, He gives us miracles. He gives us the ability to go above and beyond nature and grow closer to Hashem, and He wants to shower us with all sorts of bracha and all sorts of good things. But we have to go beyond ourselves. It's our job at Chanukah to tap into that ability that God gives us at this time of year and be extraordinary. Do a little bit more. Become a little bit better. Take on something a little bit more in the merit of Chanukah and the power that be at this time, and become a little bit of a better person. Wishing everybody a happy Chanukah and a good night.